What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the Life of Young Funeral. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Life of Young Funeral Professionals. So in church, the theme this year is back to the basics. So that's kind of what I did today. The guest that I have on today, you guys I'm going to give you all the history and things behind it. But before we do that, I want everyone to take a moment, like, comment, and share. And if you have not already, take an opportunity to log on and partner with us by following all of our social media platforms. You will be able to find us on Facebook at The Life of Young Funeral Professionals, on Instagram at The Young Funeral Professionals, and all of our episodes and content are also on YouTube. Our profile is The Life of Young Funeral Professionals as well. Please take this opportunity to partner with us. This podcast can't be anything without you. And so it's greatly appreciated, all of your support here and out. Today, I have someone who's actually a great inspiration to where I am today in funeral service. When I was 14 years old, Mr. Robbie Hutchison of the Daniels and Hutchison Funeral Home saw an opportunity in me to give me the open door to be a part of funeral service. And today I want to honor now the third generation of this brand and this firm. I want to bring on Mr. Cole Hutchison of the Daniels and Hutchison Funeral Home here in Middletown, Delaware. Cole, thank you so much for being a part of today. It really means a lot to me.
Of course, Raheem. Thanks for having me. And just a quick correction. It's actually fourth generation, but
fourth. Wow.
All good, man. Yeah. Fourth generation. So
wow.
Real proud.
That is, I'm beyond, like, I was talking to your dad about a week or so ago, and he told me that you guys are celebrating a great milestone. I want everyone to put in the comments, congratulations to Daniels Hutchison Funeral Home for celebrating 100 years of service. That is major. That is major.
Yeah, it was a great year, man. We were able to highlight that and really focus on, the community aspect of funeral service and giving back to the families that entrust us with tender moments in their lives. So it was a powerful year. It really was. We had a few, I'd say four different events that were first year events that went over really, really well. And like I said, I think myself and my brother have set the stage here for the next 100 years, hopefully, and to carry on to future generations.
Yes. Wow. So any of those who are watching who are in the Middletown area or even in the Delaware area, Daniels Hutchison Funeral Home. They are that funeral home who's going to stop the entire highway for their procession to go forward. And I'm just honored because I was very young, and Mr. Cole's dad really instilled a lot in me. And to this day, we still have conversation. And so, Cole, I just wanted to kind of shift into you. How was it like growing up and everything was Daniels and Hutchison Funeral Home. Like everything, you guys kind of were born and bred funeral service.
Well, we had it easy compared to my dad and my aunt. They grew up in the funeral home. I mean, that they put new meaning to funeral home. I mean, that's the way it always was. But
Yeah.
I mean, they had to take the dogs upstairs and keep them quiet, and they had 60, 80 people downstairs and having a funeral service in the parlor. That was when the funeral home was in Townsend.
Yes.
So things were different when they were coming up. Luckily, we had a house that was not connected to the funeral home. It was a nice half-mile away. So there was a little bit of a separation there from the work life, the balance that was a little different from my dad and my aunt growing up. But yeah, there was still certainly the lives were woven together, between funeral service and personal life. This was when there was just landlines, and he had a landline that would ring in the living room, and we always knew, hey, when the bat phone rings, you got to be quiet, make sure you're being respectful. There's somebody on the other end of that needs some assistance or is suffered loss. So yeah, it was unique. It was definitely unique, and it definitely shaped me and into my career and where I am now. But we were lucky compared to what he had growing up. So
Yeah. So growing up, did you always know that you were going to take over the funeral home or be a part of the funeral home?
So I never wrote it off. I always admired my dad for the service. I always saw how he was respected in the community, and how people would kind of lean on him and call him, not just funeral related, but he was always involved with cemeteries and was just always kind of a beacon, for service in the community. So for me, that was my first impression of funeral service. It was not just one thing; it was a whole web, and a whole different. There's so many levels to it for him. So I definitely respected that, and I always had an idea that it might be something that I go into, and the original banner ad, it said myself and my brother for this. Owen was unavailable today, but I think hopefully you'll be able to have him on at a later date, and you'll get his perspective on all that. And I think that'll be pretty interesting to have myself and his differing opinions on that. But yeah, I always kind of knew that it was something that might be in the cards for me, and not so much. I don't think my brother was more of the prodigal son. He kind of came back, and
and that's one thing I was going to say. I was like,
right, but
I was like, wasn't Owen in hospitality?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was. It's kind of ironic how everything happens, but for after he graduated from the University of Delaware, he worked in largely the wedding industry. It was corporate catering and weddings. So
Wow.
between himself and me, the weddings and the marry a bury, we could do it all at that point. But
Yes.
we've kind of shifted focus, and he's come on, and he's been a real asset to the changing the guard here.
Yeah, that is so good. That is so good. So Cole, one thing I do want to ask, we all know that funeral service is not your typical cookie cutter industry. It's not your average 9 to 5. So tell me some things that you personally do that boosts your morale in this industry. Tell me something that gives you like an inspiration that fuel to your fire to continue to serve, because you have a big legacy to uphold behind you. 3 prior generations of funeral service, so that's a lot. So what do you do to keep you going in this industry?
So for me, seeing how my father operated the business, and how he was always a community first person, he was still largely reactive to things. When the phone would ring, he would assist, and it was all hands on deck and assisting that family through that time. But now we're seeing a shift in the industry, and it's kind of there's more than that. There's more than just the day of. It's not just the funeral. It's the months and the weeks and the aftercare. So that was a real big goal for myself. Seeing what a great job my previous generations had done in the day of service, and going above and beyond, getting the families through that loss and through the day. But at the end of it, that's they go home, but they have to deal with the grief. They have to deal with the loss. So, we've really been reaching out, and I mentioned some of those community events, and we're doing a lot of development as far as our aftercare program goes. Bringing on a full-time chaplain. We're having, this previous year we had a celebration of life service and grief resource share here in town at a local church, and that was very well attended, and that's kind of the view I see, and that brings me a lot of peace, knowing that we're more than just somebody to call in your tough times. It's hopefully we're able to build community to help folks navigate through the really tough reality that is grief. So that's where I would like to find peace, knowing that we're not just here for the day of. We're here for our families, and if they need us, they call us for whatever it is, not just on that tough day.
Now, those who are watching, I say this all the time: our service does not end the day of the funeral. And so the fact, Cole, that you have, taken the initiative to even build onto your aftercare program, having these community events at weeks to months after the service, that actually warms my heart, because that's something that I always harp on. Like, our families have to know who we are outside of the funeral hour. And that's really important. And so that it just kind of warmed my heart some. It really did.
I appreciate it, but yeah, that's the goal moving forward, is to do more and to be better.
Yes, it's really important. It's really important. So I asked about something that like kind of boosts your morale. But what are some of the challenges that you have faced being fourth generation? I do know that you are, the guards have changed and you guys are running the funeral home. But just as a young professional itself, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in this journey of yours?
So I know personally for myself, I'm an empath. I feel what other people feel, and I that's an asset for sure. But it can also be a tough part of this job, because we're supposed to be, a steadfast guide through these tough times, and families are coming to us in a tough spot, and we have to be strong enough to guide them through it. Still be empathetic and understand, what they're going through, but be strong at the same time. So for me, that balance, able to, relate to the families, but also, not get too caught up in their pain and their loss. It took me a good bit to find that balance, and to realize that if I'm at a arrangement conference and I'm trying to help a family through this, I can't be affected. I mean, I can obviously be empathetic, but they're coming to me, they're coming to us, our funeral home here for a guide, someone to give them the answers, and to be that, steady hand through a tough time. So yeah, that to me took a while, and every day, I'm still trying to refine that. But I think that is a little bit of a difference. We've always prided ourselves on taking it one family at a time, and our volume, our particular, number of services we do each year really allow us to do that, to focus. Yes. And that's something that, going through, the finances of things with my brother, and we hope, as much as we want to grow with the community, we really hope to just keep that, individualized, attention to detail, that type of care that people have been so accustomed to over the last 3-4 generations now. It's like, the town of Middletown is growing immensely. And, thankfully for us, we have, this competition in town now. There's another funeral home here because, I just don't know that we would be able to keep that same level of care, if we had to totally,
volume,
do a lot more volume. So we're in a very special place, as a company and as, a service that we're, able to maintain that level of care for our families. And that's something that I hope stays steadfast through this generation and the next.
Yeah. Wow. That is really, and oftentimes you hear practitioners say, yeah, we're doing good. And we want more families to come in. But the fact that you guys, and I can attest that Daniels and Hutchison, you guys have such a level of attention to detail, and you guys are very thorough. And even on the day of the service, you guys are very empathetic to the families. It's very personable. And I love that. I love that. And so the fact that you guys want to keep that level of relationship with your families is really important because it makes families feel as if you really care about not only my loved one but about us. It matters, and when people see the quality change because the quantity has changed, we've really lost sight of what you guys really are doing. But kudos, hats off to you all. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite episodes because I grew up around the entire, and seeing how you guys are just moving through things. It's great. It really is really great. And I'm loving to see it. So
thank you.
I love your dad. Your dad has a piece of my heart.
And he's a good man for sure.
I'm so happy that he is enjoying what he says. What did he say? It was partial retirement. I'm so glad he's enjoying his partial retirement.
I think it's more of a strategic retirement. He shows up when he wants to, and he's gone like the wind when he's not needed. So,
wow.
God bless him. He deserved it, and he's worked very hard, and he's got himself to a point where he can relax a little bit. He's got faith in myself, my brother, and our team here, and it's good to see because it wasn't like that when it was just me, and we were doing a lot of we had opinions, and I had opinions, and he wasn't ready to quite listen to them when I just came on, but that's par for the course. That's how it goes. But things are good. Things are good now. They're real good.
So I say that to say your dad has been someone that I do call a mentor, and I do look up to in this industry. And so I wanted to know, other than your dad, is there anyone that you have that is a sense of inspiration or guidance in this industry that you can learn from, basically, to better yourself?
Yeah. So, man, that's a tough question. I probably should have gave that some more thought. But being as that, I've had my family, has been involved in the funeral service for such a long time, it would be, foolish not to mention my grandfather, and I didn't truly know Ted Daniels, which was my grandfather's, uncle and his adopted father. And he was the first one. He started the original funeral home in Townsend and, took my grandfather on. But yeah, I would certainly say my grandfather and my father, outside of the family, we have a lot of great working relationships with a lot of different, funeral homes in the state. And there's certainly some older guys, kind of like myself that I look up to, and I'll confide in and look for some advice back and forth. But yeah, my father and my grandfather were huge reasons that I got into this funeral service. So that would just have to be the easy answer for that.
Yeah, I understand. So because one thing also to those who are watching, I want you guys to recognize and understand that this industry is based off of networking and connections.
Yeah.
You have to be in a place where you can reach out for guidance, advice. Just even sometimes I have a friend that I just call the vent with. It's just sometimes it's just a lot that goes
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So
It can really be like that. And especially when it gets into, a time where, the months have gone by and you haven't had, a break. And yeah, you got to keep track of your mental too. It's definitely, it's all part of it. But if you just keep that idea that, you're helping people through a tough time and it, you truly feel like you're making a difference.
yeah,
And that's where it keeps, keeps you going, keeps you
yeah,
focused and back on track.
that is very true. That is very true. So where do you see, and if be you can you can let go of any information that you really feel to. But where do you see your funeral home going within the next 5, maybe 7 years?
Well, I tell you what, it was when I came into the service in 2018. I was kind of at a crossroad, getting ready to take the next step, and the job I got a degree in environmental consulting, or environmental science. I was working for an environmental consulting company down in Rehoboth, and Dad had turned 60, and he was, he said, "Look, I need to figure out a plan here. So it's either now or I'm gonna have to take on a partner or so he gave me the option to kind of figure it out, and the timing of that was unique, and it's been all about timing, and next 5 years or so, it's everything is kind of lined up for myself and my brother. There's opportunities coming down the pipe for us that for growth. Not so much as like volume as far as that growth goes, but to do more for the families that we have. There's possibility of an event space behind the funeral home here that we kind of share parking with. It's currently a church, but being able to offer that, for luncheons and repasses, that's going to be something. And also like a community space, to hold those aftercare meetings and to have a neutral facility that is not so intimidating and tied to tough days. Like, people walking in the funeral home, they kind of have, bad memories or whatever it might be, tough memories about that.
Yeah,
So to have a space, to be that neutral spot where people can come and maybe seek community and seek, some sort of counsel. I think that's going to be a big part of the plan moving forward.
gotcha.
So hopefully there's a tentative timeline in June for the property and the expansion as far as that goes. So it's as exciting as the funeral service can get. There's a lot of things that are coming down that just have been a long time in the making. That it feels like the timing is it's pretty crazy to think, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm loving everything about what you guys are doing. I am loving it. Okay. I
Appreciate that.
even just when I because I do work about a half hour from Middletown, but even when I do come through and you guys are on a service, just how you guys are attentive outside in the parking lot, opening doors, valet parking cars, like you guys has it down to a science. And then when it comes time to pull off, you guys have that, like, it is beautiful. And I say beautiful, I mean beautiful. And if no one ever tells you that you guys are doing an amazing job, I'm here to tell you, you guys are doing
Wow,
an amazing job.
that's what we want to keep, man. Unfortunately, we've been here a long time, so there was no Middletown Police Department, when we were here.
No,
So my dad, he really put an emphasis on, safety and making sure that, our flock, being a shepherd of the flock and making sure they arrive to, the location safe. And, yeah, we've always done, kind of going above and beyond as far as the procession and the escort goes. And it's a big part of it. People really appreciate it. And they certainly take notice when we get there. And that's a lot. The number one thing usually when we arrive to the graveside is, man, that was precise. That was surgical. Thank you so much. It's a big part of it.
Yes, I'm telling you. And you guys, I know a lot of you that are viewing won't even know what I mean by how I'm telling you, these individuals, you would have thought it was the president coming through, how detail oriented they are when it comes to their processions. And I'm grateful because I've had a privilege to learn from some of these gentlemen on procession protocol and etiquette. I've learned a lot in the short time that I was there, and I'm so grateful because I have taken what I've learned and I've implemented it in my own kind of journey. And so, man, I'm telling you, you don't need any police when you're with Daniel Hutchison. You don't need it.
It's always really nice, if we're doing the service of a retired patrolman or state police or something of that nature, and we have the additional resources there. That's sometimes you just gotta sit back and watch them work, because that's when you have that type of professionalism, you just kind of fall back in line. But when they're not there, we want to make sure that we're not inconveniencing our local police, or we got it all in house. So we don't need to take them guys off protecting and serving. We proceed with caution and make sure everybody arrives to where we're going safe and sound.
Kudos to you. I'm loving, and one thing about it, they are a firm. They're like family. You guys are like family. They love each other as if they are blood related, and that's one thing I always appreciated. And it's not too many people that is working with you, all right?
So, man, when we get an employee, we tend to retain them. We've got most of all of our employees have 10 or 15 years, and over the years, obviously, we've lost employees, which is always tough, but yeah, man, we tend to, have somebody who does a good job and really respect him, and they reciprocate that. So it's we're very blessed to have a great team, and I believe we have 7 or 8 part-time funeral assistants, if you would, that are able to go on transfers and work services, and then we have myself, my brother, Dad when he wants to make himself involved. Then we got 2 office managers and a family counselor. So yeah, it's a tight knit group, man. But like you said, it's respect the heck out of all those guys that really take that time to commit.
Yeah. And so I just want to take a moment, Cole. Someone today watching is maybe the generationally passed down practitioner. But someone that's watching may also just be wondering, well, how can I move forward? Like there's someone who just needs a piece of encouragement. And so I would like for you to take a few moments. You guys will, this is not the first time you want to see Cole. Cole is going to orchestrate his brother Owen coming back. But I want Cole to just take a moment to encourage all those who are watching just to keep moving forward. And this is honestly, this is my favorite part, because sometimes I get encouraged as well. So take a moment and just encourage those who are watching on how to be the best version of themselves in this industry.
Of course. So I would just first start off by saying, make sure you have a full and complete understanding of, the type of work that you would be getting into, because, from the outside looking in, you see, the Cadillacs, or you see the Suburbans, and you see the lights, and, you see dressed in nice suits and stuff like that. I mean, Yeah, that's a part of it. You have to make sure that, you're able to maintain that image, but it's heavy stuff. I mean, it's not just, and it's no different than, being in the healthcare industry or, being a police officer. They have the real tough jobs. They have the high stress, high pressure. All we have to do truly is to guide, those who are left, dealing with that grief and with that loss. So, you know, healthcare and police officers and first responders, all of them, that's a whole different ball game. But just know what you're getting into. It's not just all, all the nice cars that you might see and all that. It's pretty deep. But yeah, it's tough because you do have a work-life balance that is, when I first got into it, my dad was being pretty hard on me, and, whether I was studying all night, passing, my exams, or studying for this, studying for that, I get done 12 or 1 o'clock, and I was still the first call for every, every transfer, 24/7. And I say, "Hey, Dad, I got an exam 7 a.m. in the morning." He's like, "Well, you better be ready. This is what it is. You know what you're getting into." So, um, just know that it is relentless. I mean, it can be to a point where you get wrapped up and you kind of lose a little bit of your balance. But when you do help somebody through, some of their darkest days, I don't know that there is a more sincere, when we get written, thank you cards, and when people just come up to you and they don't have words, and they just outstretch their arms and they're just looking for, a hug, pretty much. It's, that you've made a profound difference, whether it was just that one day or whether you have, helped out or answered a phone call or answered a question, weeks after service. That type of heartfelt, thank you. I don't know that it can be found in any type of other industry, truthfully. It's just, it's profound because, when people appreciate what you do, especially in this line of work, you can't help but feel it. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be words. It can just be, a common understanding, that what you have just done has really made a difference for someone. So that would be the most, that would be my why moment, is why I would get into the funeral service, is that, those moments where that you've made a difference and you've helped somebody through a tough time. I don't know if it can get more sincere than that, Raheem.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. So again, family and friends, I do want to take the opportunity to thank Cole for setting aside some time to sit with us, to learn about him and to honor his journey in funeral service. I thank you so much for your yes. I thank you for your service. I truly appreciate that you thought not robbery to be a part of this wonderful platform.
Yeah, man.
It's greatly appreciated. And you always know I'm here if I can be of any assistance to you or your family for anything. So this concludes this episode.
Well, that got pretty heavy. So I want to end on a brighter, lighter note. All right. So I did mention, some of our events that we put on, kind of in the wake of our 100th year. And, we put on a golf tournament where we raised a lot of money for Folds of Honor, which is a charity that supports first responders, the families of first responders, active military. It's something that it's a pin I wear right now, and I wear that not just for veteran services, but every day. And we actually have kind of pioneered the expansion of a chapter from the northern or Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania and Jersey to now expanded into the Mid-Atlantic. So with ourselves and a few other events in the state of Delaware, we're going to get a lot more support for that. And as far as giving back to the community, last year we did this really cool event at the Peach Festival here in Middletown, Delaware, where we just simply had basically a flower bar where we allowed everyone to come up, and make their own flower bouquets, and
Wow.
just as a thanks. It was a really great activity. I mean, we had, a line all the way out the parking lot, and we had, I think 250 people make flower bouquets, just as a thank you, for trusting us, with their service, and putting their trust in us as a family company. So those type of things really are a bright light. You got to get out and see people, away from just the day of, you can't just see them all at graveside. You got to be out and be active. So,
Yeah.
as we can continue into this fourth generation, that's going to be the focus for us, is to be more than just, a black suit and a hand if you need a hand to hold. So,
Yeah,
man.
That's amazing. You guys are also really involved with Special Olympics, right?
Yeah. So myself and my brother, we've coached, for, I guess, I mean, my mom was heavily involved back in the day. She's now retired, but yeah, we've coached locally here for the MOT Tigers for the last 4 years.
Okay.
So that's cool. We're the area directors around here for golf, and then also help with basketball and a few things. So yeah, we're still trying to get involved with as much as I can, with the hours in the day that there are, but it's never ending, and I love it. I love it for that. You never know what to expect, and you can always do more.
Yeah, and honestly, the community appreciates it. It's a major difference. So for all my professionals out there who are watching, I need you to get in your community. Get in your community. Serve your community. It's not just about the service that they request from us, but it's a service that we can offer to them. So continue to do what you have to do, because it matters. Relationships matter. Support matters. And your presence in the community also matters. So Cole, man, you guys are doing great. And I truly appreciate it. Even Reefs Across America, you guys are involved with, correct?
Yeah. We've done that for the last 10 years or so, and just been a kind of a liaison and a beacon for that movement. Very proud to be a part of a lot of different things, Raheem. So we're gonna keep it up, man. We're gonna do more, and when we're called, we're gonna stand up and step up to the plate. So we're here, man, and I appreciate this, and I think it's a great platform. I'm really impressed with. I watched some of your other episodes, and I wish you all of the success in the world, my friend. And I thank you again for thinking of us and bringing me on.
No problem. I could not have this platform without DNH blessing their presence. So
man, I wish I was you beat me back to the family business, man. I didn't even get to hardly work with you. You were pre me.
I know. But listen, it's a world of opportunity for us to connect, Cole. We are connected, so let's stay connected, and that's what this is all about as well. So because it's to the future we go, because only up from here.
Absolutely, man. Raheem, thank you so much. If you need anything, my brother he's like the business manager and does the pre-need side of things. I'm more the at need, and I do everything from landscaping out front to to meeting families to everything in between. Everything in between, man. You can't just wear one hat around here. You gotta be well versed. But yeah, I'm interested to see what my brother has to say if you can convince him to get on.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you everybody for tuning in. And of course, we're going to be right here next week on the Life of Young Funeral Professionals. And I will see you then. I love you. And I thank you always for your support. Thank you and take care.
Thank you for your time.